These are some of the most odd purchasing decisions I've ever seen on a key collectible. Do people just not know what to pay for this comic?
There's just too many coming and just too many existing to keep this book above $400 long term.
It's crazy it ever sold for that much. Join our SMS group. We do weekly giveaways. Get a chance at this 9/6 Falling in Love on a Path to Hell, signed by Jerry Duggan, one of the dopest indie comics of the year. The hottest comic books in the world. Let's jump into it at number 10 with Thundercats number 1. The 9.0's up 13%, the 9.4 3%, the 9.6 sold for $200, up 3%, and a newsstand 9.8 is up 16%, selling for $979. End of the year, we see a lot of auctions as we approach the holiday season. Anytime I see Thundercats on a list, I check G.I. Joe 1, which has been trading around the $1,000 to $1,100 marker all year, and we saw a recent sale for $820. I look at Transformers number 1, same thing, $1,000 to $1,100 all year long, recent sale $850. Great time to be looking at key books that have major potential long-term.
Dynamite's actually doing a killer job with this title. Ever since they got on the rights, and let's not also forget, this is their 40th anniversary, and they have a Kickstarter going, or backer kit, where you can get the first 24 issues reprinted. And there's all kind of extra bonuses as well if you go check this out. If you're a huge Thundercats fan, please do. And let's not also forget, there's always the potential buzz of a show or movie that's been in the background. And as long as it doesn't look like the Broadway show Cats, I'm expecting good things from it when and if it ever comes out.
I backed enough to be able to get the Omni collection on hardcover, and to my surprise, I got 2 bonus Mark Spears comic books that are going to be added to my order, which already is going to discount this royally. Check that Kickstarter backer kit out because they're about to break $100,000. Hit the subscribe button. We cover the hottest books every single week on this channel. It takes 3 sales above the recent 12-month average to qualify to make our list. And why don't you hit him with number 9?
One of the earliest and most classic keys for X-Men is this book, Uncanny X-Men number 12, the first appearance and origin of the Juggernaut. We had 5 sales above the 12-month average for almost $2,200 this week. A 2.0 sold up 10%. The 3.0 is up 1%. The 4.0 is up 14% for a $550 sale. And the 5.0 is up 4% for a $669 sale. Now, these numbers to me are okay, but if I'm tracking all of X-Men books across the board, they still feel real down on the market. So at this point, I wouldn't necessarily be paying these type of prices. I'd be looking for something around 10% below the numbers we just reported.
We saw Juggernaut getting a little bit of a boost over this last year because of Deadpool Wolverine, but I think similar to Sabretooth and the brief moment he had on the screen, now the book's kind of coming back down to reality. We are actually seeing a spike this week because of the announcement of the conclusion of 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, going to be released in March of 2025. In issue number 63, we see for the first time ever, Spider-Jugs. Spider-Man as Juggernaut. There's got to be a better way to say this, but he looks kind of weird. And I know there's people going, oh, come on, Marvel. But it's supposed to be weird, isn't it?
Spuggernaut kind of falls along those lines of like Spectacular Spider-Man number 39 and 40, where we saw like Spizzard, Spider-Man and Lizard combined, or Web of Spider-Man number 70, where you saw Spider-Hulk or Spulk, whatever. You see where I'm going with these names.
It's funny. That's the whole point. But if you want some more serious ones, or at least some more cooler ones, I would point you in the direction of like Deadpool Annual number 2, where Peter Parker and Wade Wilson trade costumes. Or, of course, what if Spider-Man became the Punisher? Ooh, that is a Valve OLED limited edition Steam Deck. And I'm going to give it away this Saturday, December 21st. Stream starts at 10 a.m. But I'm not going to open this to show you how dope it is because I actually got one myself.
Look at this slick carrying case they gave it to us in. White on white. This is the only way to get it in white is to get the limited edition release of the OLED model. It's 1 terabyte worth of storage, and what it really is a way to play your on-computer video games wherever you want to go. It's got a really nice OLED screen. These were sold out in like 2 or 3 weeks in the US. Right now you can only get it on resale, going for upwards of $1,000. So it's really exciting that we were able to secure one to give you guys as a giveaway.
You heard that right. This is worth over $1,000, and I want you to win it December 21st. The stream starts at 10 a.m. only on Whatnot. Whatnot is a live selling platform where you can literally buy, sell, and auction anything. And we do enjoy video games, but we also sell and give away a ton of comics. Ryan, show them the room we're in. This is the best place you can get exclusive and vintage comics from us. We give away upwards of 20 to 30 comic books every single stream. Use the link in my description to enjoy a $15 credit you can use on your first purchase, not just in our stream, any category on the app. You can get Pokemon cards, you can get vintage toys, records, vintage clothing, anything. And we'll see you Saturday, only on Whatnot.
Number 8's a little bit of an odd one this week because not only is it on the down report for Key Collector, which if you haven't checked out yet, go check it out. It's also on the Hot 10. You're like scratching your head. How can it be on both lists? Well, since being on the down report, it's been reported that Disney Plus is having a show for Nova, which is our book here at number 8, Nova #1, which came out in 1976, and we had 5 sales above the 12-month average for $768 spent.
Will we see Richard Rider Nova on Disney Plus, the first appearance in this book, or will we see Sam Alexander, Marvel Point 1, issue number 1, or will we see both? Anything is possible, but this book is common, but it's kind of tough and high grade. We have a 4.5 up 13%, 6.09%, 8.5s up 26%. You can get a 9.0 for 130, up 25%. How do you feel about this 9.6, however? $420 for a year-high sale. The average was $260. That's an increase of 62%.
Too much. Just too much. Do not spend that amount of money on a 9.6. Stick to the average as we discussed for this book. It is extremely common, and we have 619 in a 9.8 already. And I promise you, if this book is selling strong, we're going to see that census grow extremely quickly.
There's been no Nova news all year long, and we're seeing an increase of upwards of 5 to 6 9.8s a month. And now with this new news, imagine where the census is going to go. I've been watching this down report, looking through these comics because, wow, there are some monster keys on there that are selling super cheap. That's what the down report is. Books that are really cheap, but have potential long-term. Nova 1 made that list. But another one that I can't help but look at is Shazam 28. Second appearance of Black Adam. I know I'm pissing some people off talking about this book because it hit heights of $7,000 at a 9.8. Recent sale, $430. This book is selling as cheap as it did back in 2013. And with James Gunn revamping the DCU, it wouldn't be a surprise if he tried to give Black Adam another opportunity on the screen.
Holy jugnuts. Are you telling me that book is down $6,500?
It's crazy it ever sold for that much.
But the potential for that character is there, considering that James Gunn's titling his chapter, opposed to Marvel's phases, Gods and Monsters, which leads us to number 7. Another DC monster, because we have Swamp Thing #1 here at this list.
When James Gunn took over DC and he made his announcements for Superman and the Batman family, Creature Commandos, Swamp Thing was on that list for a movie, and we've gotten more updates on that in James Mangold than a lot of other properties people thought he would prioritize first.
Just as this video is dropping, we should be seeing the first trailer to James Gunn Vision as Superman is going to be coming out hitting the screens, and we get to finally see what all the hype's about.
Will this cause a domino effect? Will this cause everyone to relook at DC keys again as a prime investment? You let us know in the comment section below.
God, I hope so, because I love DC books. Now, this is the first Swamp Thing that most of us know because it's Alec Holland's Swamp Thing. But if you want the original first appearance of Swamp Thing, you're going to want to check out House of Secrets 92, which I have not seen on this list, I don't think all year, but I hope to at some point. The 6.0 is up 8%, the 7.5 up 17%, and the 8.0 is up 5%, but the 9.0 up 12% with a $383 sale.
Let me know what you think about the Superman trailer in the comment section below while we move on to Predator #1, which hit heights of over $1,000 at a 9.8, and it's selling for half. Over $1,200 in sales this week across 7 transactions. You can get a 9.4 for $149, up 38%. A 9.60 went for $180, up 27%. And the 9.8 sold for $450, up 2%. In 2025, we get a live-action movie, Predator Badlands, telling the narrative from the perspective of the Predator for the first time. We also have a secret Predator movie or show coming in 2025. That's been under wraps, but it's probably a continuation of the successful movie Prey, where they take Predator and just drop him into a random time period, and we see the chaos. We also have Marvel, who has acquired the IP for the comic books of Predator. We just saw Wolverine Predator. We saw Predator go up against Black Panther, and next year we see Predator go up against Spider-Man.
5 is a book that highlights 2 characters I don't see Predator ever trying to battle. Silver Surfer number 4, classic battle scene between Thor and Silver Surfer for the very first time. It's also the second appearance of Mephisto, an absolute classic cover, and one that's extremely coveted by most collectors.
These are some of the most odd purchasing decisions I've ever seen on a key collectible. Do people just not know what to pay for this comic?
This all happened in December. Is this like some new Christmas book? I don't understand why these numbers are the way they are. Now, the 4.5 I'm about to report on seems about accurate. We had a 5% increase for $493. But the 5.0, the 6.5, 7.0, and 7.5 had such massive increases that the numbers don't seem to track with what the average truly should be for this book. The 5.0 is up 22%. The 6.5 is up 24%, the 7.0 is up 16%, and the 7.5 is up with a year-high sale of 61%. The most egregious of all of them with a $2,000 sale. This book is around $1,245 for the 12-month average and is probably about where this book should be trading.
Why are people paying so much for this? Every one of those points are like hundreds of dollars more than what they should be selling. And yeah, maybe people are just getting ahead of the curve, trying to pick up some Fantastic Four Silver Surfer keys. Maybe they're buying stuff for their loved ones. I mean, do you buy comics for your family?
That is not my family. My family is not one where you buy a comic for them. And they don't buy a comic for me, and that's okay because I don't trust them with receiving and or buying them for myself.
Number 4 on the list is Voltron number 1. Yo, this has been one of the hottest moving books in the last couple months because not only Henry Cavill was cast for this live action movie that's headed to Amazon, we got our first glimpse because they have started filming officially this week. The 8.0 had a year high selling for $96, up 32%. The 9.0 had a year high, up 27%, hitting the $100 threshold. The 9.4 is selling for $160, up 48%. 9.6 is up 53%, and the 9.8 sold for $410, up 56%. And we see a camera shot only, but you see the logo of Voltron, which I'm assuming they're going to be keeping to market this movie.
Yeah, earlier you mentioned how when Thundercats hits a list, you run to Transformers and G.I. Joe. This is a book that I run to as well anytime I have to do any type of research for any type of cartoon book.
Well, here's the thing. That 9.8 seems a bit egregious. I think people are getting a little bit too excited hitting eBay and buying whatever they can because this book has been around the $260 marker for a 9.8. In fact, the last sale for a 9.8 was $221. Don't overspend.
$221 does sound cheap if you can compare them to Thundercats and Transformers and G.I. Joe. $400 sounds like where it should be. I'm not saying that's what you pay, but I can see potential growth to that number, if not more.
If you like what we do, support this show directly, and we'll even send you comics every single month. 4 to 5, to be precise, plus a print. And we're kicking off 2025, January, 1 per box, with a magic number 1 by none other than John Boy Myers. And I have another book that I'm also promising 1 per box, but we're going to save that for a future video. Hit comictomic.com to secure your box now and get your John Boy Myers variant. And let's move on to number 3 on the list. With Craven's first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 15. Despite the critically panned movie, it still was marketed heavily. And I think that's why we see Craven creep up on our list over the last couple months and stay on the list this week.
I have not seen this movie yet, but I am going to watch it. But I don't want to give it too much credence that this movie itself is pushing this book to new heights. But I can't say that it isn't for some of these grades, as somebody has overpaid in this list of pricing. The 3.5 is up 13%. The 4.0 is up 14%. The 4.5 is up 23%. The 5.0 had a year-high sale up 53% with $1,343. And this is that A person that I'm talking about. This book is probably in grade more like $1,000 book. The 5.5 is up 7% with an $1,100 sale.
If we go 2 issues prior, you get first appearance of Mysterio in Amazing Spider-Man 13. And this right here showcases just how many opportunities there have been in this last year to grab key ASMs at a great deal. Because in June, a 5.0, a first Mysterio, went for $750. In November, same grade, $1,200 twice. And in December, over $1,000.
That ASM 13 is a primary example where seasoned collectors who understand the long-term vision of this hobby know that when a down market comes, that you jump in at that opportunity. And we're seeing those type of people add books to their collection that they never would have added before and catching that growth cycle of making money if they ever wanted to liquidate that book. Now, liquidate This book at number 2.
Woo! Dude, this is crazy, dude. Are we talking sub $400 on? Number 2 on the list, Marvel Superhero Secret Wars number 8. Over 19 transactions, over $5,000 in monies moved, and not a single direct market 9.8 to report on. That means no 9.8s in the last 7 days outdid the recent 12-month average, which is officially sub $500 for 2024. The 9.2's up 41% with 3 copies outdoing the 12-month average. The 9.4's up 42% with 4 copies outselling the 12-month average. The 9.6 had 7 copies outsell the 12-month average, the highest for $310, up 20%. And then there was a 9.8 newsie that sold for $1,045, up 9%. The last 9.8 recorded sale on GPA is $425. In the last 7 days, we've seen an increase of 16 9.8s added to the census. That is nearly 3 9.8s a day. I think this book is going to be sub 400 very soon.
That's so freaking hard for me to even digest and understand, because when I look at this book, I see the value there of how important it is. But I also take a look at that census count, and it helps ground me to realize, okay, there's just too many coming and just too many existing to keep this book above $400 long term.
With the failure of the Sonyverse, they have to pivot. And the only thing that's worked in the past is Venom and Spider-Man, which only gives more optimism on symbiote keys.
Like and subscribe, just like you guys like this book, because it's been on this list 21 times this year. But on to number 1.
The number 1 hottest book in the world this week.
One that needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce it anyway. Incredible Hulk number 340, Todd McFarlane. Greatness.
14 different sales, over $3,500 worth of money spent, and not a single 9.8 direct copy to report on. There is a ton of sales, but they're lower grades. And I happen to think that this is one of those additions to people's PCs that they're making at the end of the year. I actually did an Instagram post. Follow me on Comic Tom 101 over on IG. And I said, if you own this book, send me proof. So here's the proof. People literally took pictures of their books because they're on their wall. It was so easy for them to snap a picture because they want to see it every day. This is one of those books that you don't just keep buried in your short box. You put it on display. You got to add it to your PC.
4 copies in the 9.4 outsold the average, with one hitting a 36% increase of $345. The 9.6 up 12%, and the newsstand 9.6 up 11% with a $520 sale.
We've been waiting to hear some type of updates on what Hugh Jackman's going to be doing with Wolverine, what Deadpool's going to be doing in a future movie. And Ryan Reynolds actually commented on this past week. He said centering Deadpool works best if you take everything away from him and put him against the wall. I can't really do that again. A 4th time feels a little too redundant. That doesn't mean sacrificing fun. There is still an arc for Deadpool which is fulfilling and powerful. This sounds like we may see Deadpool not star in the next movie, that he may be a secondary character.
In Ryan Reynolds, we trust. Put that on a dollar bill, because I am following whatever this guy is saying. All right, he's putting it down, I'm picking it up. I trust Ryan Reynolds, and it makes total sense, right? Put him on the back seat for now, and then at some point present him as a major player in another future feature film.
Let us know what you think in the comment section below, and as always,
do yourself a favor and geek responsibly.
Enough said.